Welcome back everybody to T-Photo. Today we have a new camera to test that isn't really new in any sense of the word. This is a Sony RX100 Mark III and it's about a year I've had this camera now. I bought it on eBay in a hope to get something with some nice high quality that fits in my pocket. So now for some real world testing. For the first test I took it to a location with some nice scenery just beside Glasgow Airport. It was a traditional raining Scottish day with a lot of overcast in the middle of winter, so there's no bright shining colours, but overall I think it was a reasonably fair test. The idea here is to take some photos and compare it to the Fujifilm X-T200 camera that I shoot on every single day. The camera was really easy to use and I was impressed with how similar it was to the Fujifilm and how quickly I could jump between the two. And here are the images. The one on the right is taken on the Canon RX100 and the one on the left is taken on the Fujifilm. I think the key difference here would be the colour. These are both raw out of camera with some cropping to make them look the same. The lenses are slightly different, so it's resulted in a slightly different composition on the left, but I think it's close enough to test. I'm really impressed with both of them. The blue tint can be removed, and I think it is, to be honest, something to do with the camera's inbuilt light white balance settings, maybe on auto. Maybe a feature that's not strong, but it's certainly fixable. So for the next test I decided to do a night shot. This is something I thought the camera would struggle with much more. As you can see, it fits nicely onto a normal tripod and the settings make a shot like this very easy. I didn't use a self timer or a quick release here at all, a shutter release, although I'm sure you could. I just shot into the darkness and tripod supported in a long shutter speed to see what I could get. I didn't think this would be very good at all, but with the f1.8 sensor, the f1.8 lens, I was very surprised. The only thing that went wrong here was I missed focus, and that was my fault, so don't judge the focus of this photo on the camera. It was something that I missed completely. So here's a comparison overall, and these are almost identical. I cannot believe a camera that fits in your pocket with a small sensor could produce something like this when held beside a camera that doesn't fit anywhere near your pocket. This will change the way I shoot all the time. If anything, the colours on the shot on the right are a little bit richer, and the Fujifilm photo on the left has a little bit more resolution when you look at the detail. The Fujifilm, to be honest, is probably just focused better, and the two are comparable. So unless you're making billboard sized prints, then this won't matter. The quality on the Canon camera is absolutely passable and will be everything you need. Let's do some more real world testing with this camera. For this next one I had to take two flights on this day. The first one I took to Edinburgh and the second one I took to Finland. This was the first flight to Edinburgh and I decided that I was going to give the camera a trial by fire on the second flight. The most difficult challenge I could set this camera. The conditions were snowy, cold and dark. We took off in the dark and flew into the night, and on landing I was going to try and shoot some photos like this of Helsinki. This must be the most difficult situation you can put this camera in to do with autofocus, low light and high speed. I also shot some stuff once I got to the airport. I'm really impressed with this shot and some of the other ones it got despite the incredible low light. So here are some of the edits. I think these are amazing for the type of camera this is. To have a small sensor and to be handheld throughout all of these shots, to get what I got from it, I think is amazing. The images are flawed, they are noisy, but they're absolutely acceptable. Here's the main reason I went for this camera. My usual gear is huge and this camera is considerably smaller, yet it covers everything that lens setup does as well, and it fits in my pocket. That's the main thing. So we're back to Finland again. on the drive from the airport to get some food to go to the hotel. This was a business trip and it would have been completely inappropriate to go around with a camera around my neck in this situation. My backpack was full of other things, so it wasn't as if I could put it in a backpack either. This is the kind of situation where a camera of this size and shape comes into its own. The idea that you can have this level of quality in your pocket to take out at a moment's notice, shoot a photo, put it away again, and no one knows it's there is amazing. So, after the drive home and a short walk, I managed to get back closer to the city centre and decided to take some night shots on the way home. This camera was extremely capable. The f1.8 lens and the large sensor, for its size, allowed some amazing night shots here. Some of these shots were bright, but some of the other ones were shot in absolute darkness. And we got some really cool stuff. That last portrait is a particular favourite of mine. I even shot a long exposure. I had to balance this on a bin because I didn't have a tripod, but it still managed to do it perfectly. So after the edit, all of them came back really well. I was particularly impressed with this. The idea that the camera can do that with its inbuilt settings and still fit in your pocket is crazy. So on to some daytime tests. There wasn't much light in Finland. It was the middle of December. There was about half a foot of snow, but the camera did really well. Things like battery life and cold weather running were not a problem at all. And as you can see, the shots it got during the day I think are absolutely fantastic. I'm super happy with them. And I tried to do a more creative edit in this case. But all of the photos turned out really well. Super happy once again. For the edit I decided to make them blue because it was really cold. The raw files took this really well and the quality was maintained while doing something a little bit different. My concern with this was that when they turned blue the quality would go, but they didn't. I was able to create something really interesting and something really creative at a point where I shouldn't even have had a camera at all. The other thing worth considering with the Sony camera is the price. I've done a comparison here on price compared to the Fujifilm camera, where I use the two lenses to cover all of the shots I take on a daily basis. Fujifilm I use a X-T200 with the kit lens, the 15-45, and an 18-80-200mm XF lens as well. The price for that is around about £500 to £1,000 depending on where you get it, with the Canon being £150 to £200 second hand. For the next test I was at a Scottish bothy in the middle of winter once again. This was only a few months later, and as you can see, even in the dull Scottish weather, at the end of the year and at the end of the day, it was able to deliver some really good results. As well as landscape shots, I tried to shoot some different things like this sheep, and it performed really well. It was able to take shots fast, there's no shutter delay, so I was able to get a shot like this that was there in a second and gone in the next. So after editing, the photos I'm really happy with, particularly this one. This was a 1 in a million shot, as well as this one was good as well. The colours are particularly good, I think, for this camera. In conclusion, I think this is a really strong camera. The compactness means it's always there when you need it, and it's something I'll carry around all of the time. The quality is very, very good for the price and age. It doesn't stand up to a pocket-sized camera from today, but it's a fifth of the price of one of these new ones. So I highly recommend it, and it's something that I'll make sure I have in my pocket all the time from now on.